Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am continuing my week of dinners series this week, but the funny thing is today is actually Saturday. I usually try to start my week of dinners video on Tuesday or Wednesday, but I have not cooked anything new this week yet. We've had so many leftovers that we've just been eating on those, and we've been really busy, just had different events that we were doing and busy with, and so we have just been eating what's in the fridge, which is great. And I'm finding that I'm doing most of my cooking on the weekends, and then we eat the leftovers through the first part of the week. It's funny doing these videos because I become a lot more aware of my patterns. Normally I just kind of cook things whenever and don't really think about it, but when I'm trying to like encapsulate a week's worth of meals, I can kind of read patterns, and so it works out pretty well. So this weekend is going to be no different. Today's Saturday. I'm just about to get started on some food prep. I just went grocery shopping this morning. Today is February 1st, and so I went and did my huge grocery stock up at Costco, and hopefully you've already seen that video if everything goes as planned. But I got a whole bunch of stuff to make breakfast sandwiches. This is something that I do every couple of months. I thought it was going to be every 2 to 3 months, but it ended up the last batch just lasted 6 weeks. So I'm going to probably be doing this every other month. But I buy a ton of ingredients for breakfast sandwiches and put them all together and keep them stocked in the freezer. And so my husband eats them every morning for breakfast. It's really easy for him to grab when he's headed out for work, and really easy for me to give to the kids if we have an early morning that we need to get somewhere and I just need to give them something quick. So I have a whole bunch of that to do. I'm about to sit down and get it all done. I probably won't do a long video of that and do all of the time lapse and everything, because I just did that 6 weeks ago when I made my last batch. And so if you're interested in seeing like the whole process of putting them all together, which is really simple, but if you're interested in seeing that, I will link that video up in the cards so you can go check it out. And then beyond the breakfast sandwiches, I have a whole pork loin defrosted in my fridge now, and I need to get it cut up and used for meals. My idea is that I'm going to use probably 2/3 of it and cut it into pork chops, and the rest of it I'm going to chop up into like stew meat pieces. And if you watched my meal planning from my pantry video that I did a couple of weeks ago, you have seen that I made a list of meals that I wanted to make out of the stuff that I had in my pantry. This is what it looks like. I got nine dinner recipes that I could make with what I had on hand because I was trying to get through the end of January without going grocery shopping. But I still have a lot of ingredients in my pantry, so this is still going to be my meal plan for the next couple of weeks before we knock all of these ingredients out. Let's see, which ones have I done? I was going to mark off the ones that I've already done. It was the chicken ones. Oh, the chicken casserole. Or the chicken stuffing casserole I did last week, and then the 2 whole chickens with my crisp lids. I did that last week. I used brown rice instead of red rice, so I still have that red rice. And then, so this week I have the pork tenderloin, not the pork tenderloin. It's not a tenderloin, it's a pork loin, so it's the big one. Tenderloins are little, and the pork loins are usually pretty big, and so it's a whole pork loin, which should last for at least 3 meals for us. But I'm going to do the pork curry with sticky rice and cabbage because I have some canned pumpkin that I need to get rid of. And then I'm also with the pork loin going to do just the this one, pork chops. I may not do brown rice since I'm doing the sticky rice with the pork curry. So I'll have to think about what side I want to do this with. But I have cabbage on here as well, so it's a pork and rice and cabbage weekend, I suppose. We'll get those 2 meals, and that's probably going to be the only 2 meals for this week. Since it's already Saturday, I'm planning on getting that pork loin all taken care of today and get it chopped up for what I need, and probably cook the pork chops tonight, and then put the stew pork in the fridge and try to cook that tomorrow for dinner. Oh, I can check my chicken ramen off. I totally did my chicken ramen. So after I get the pork dishes done this week, then next week I have on here things that I can make, like white chicken chili with cornbread, the lentil stew with quinoa, and then, I still have that kielbasa sausage in the freezer. I can do that with the roasted potatoes, although maybe I'll do those roasted potatoes with the pork chops. That's a good idea. I might do that. And then I have ground beef, brown rice, and kidney beans. That can be done anytime. Also, Autumn let me know the dinner that she wants to make for the family. She has a plan, a pasta dish. She loves to make pasta because pasta's delicious. But she is going to probably do that on next week's video. I don't think she's going to be able to get it done over the weekend, and I already have meals planned for the weekend. So she's going to probably do that sometime mid next week, so it should be in my next video. So definitely stick around if you want to see Autumn cook dinner for the family. Here's my setup. Gonna just unwrap everything and get stuff put together, and I got my big helper, Renee. You ready to help? Yeah. Are you gonna go wash your hands? Yeah. Okay, go for it, girl. Okay. All right, the freezer is stocked again with breakfast sandwiches. It always feels so good. I know my family won't starve. So this pork loin here is about 6.5 pounds. And you can see on the back here, they give you like this little diagram that tells you like how you cut it and what the pieces are after you cut it. So if you cut off the skinnier end, you get the boneless pork rib roast, and then you can get loin chops here from the middle, and then boneless sirloin roast from the thicker end over here. I tend to like I like the ends better because they have more of the dark meat, and I think that's tastier, kind of it's juicier, I guess. So I'll probably use the ends for the pork chops, and then the middle that's more lean I will use for the stew meat for the curry, and because that's going to get cooked all down with the coconut milk and different things, so it doesn't need to have as much fat. So that is the basic plan here. Batches of these frozen potatoes in my air fryer. I don't really know how long it'll take. We'll just have to see. Start with 20 minutes at 400. The pork chops are done, and I just chopped up some raw veggies for a veggie side, and we're just waiting on the potatoes. Those are starting to look good. That is dinner. Levi, did you want some? Did you want some pork chop? Pork chop? It's good? Say yup. You want pork chop too, Po? You want pork chop too? I don't have any here for you yet. I can maybe find you a little piece. Okay, sit. Sit. Here you go, Po. Stay. For you. Oh, you stay. 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 Get it. Good boy, Bobby. You need more? You need more pork chops? It's Sunday afternoon and I'm getting going on the pumpkin pork curry. I jotted down my idea of a recipe and we'll see how much I stick to that. I realized I had some ginger, like squeeze tube ginger paste, so I'm going to use that instead of ginger powder. And I'm going to be adding the carrots and the peppers at the end so they don't get way overcooked. And I am adding the coconut milk at the end as well. I'm going to be cooking some sticky rice above the curry using the pot and pot method with my big like 8-quart sized, well, the pan is not 8 quarts, it's for the 8-quart Instant Pot, but it's the width around that works in the 8-quart really well. So I'm going to cook that up above, and so the cook time that I'm using is the cook time for sticky rice, which I like to do 20 minutes at low pressure, and so I'll cook the pork the same and that'll be totally fine. It probably could cook a lot faster than that, but it won't hurt it to cook more than that. So I'm going to do the 20 minutes at low pressure, and then I'm making this for my family and they don't love a lot of additions that I love. So if I was making this just for myself, I put down a list of things I might add. They like snow peas pretty well, but I don't have any of those right now. Baby corn spears, bamboo shoots, water chestnuts, green onion, either in the curry or sprinkled on top afterwards, and then like chunks of red onion. I would love that in curry. Sprinkle of cilantro at the end. Toasted sesame seeds, that's another one. And one thing that I don't have that my family does like is pickled ginger. That's another really good thing to add on top of curry. And then as far as the base recipe, it's pretty low in carbs. There's some carbs in pumpkin and carbs in like carrots and peppers and stuff, but it's fairly low carb as is, minus the sticky rice, of course. But I just put a little note down here that if you want to make it keto, you can just keep it as is and eat it that way. You could serve it over cauliflower rice, or you could add some additional broth and make it into a soup. Those would be all good keto options. And if you want to reduce the carbs, you could reduce the amount of pumpkin, reduce the carrots or omit the carrots, add in some other like lower carb vegetables, and that would make it pretty keto. I'm going to saute the pork in a little bit of avocado oil here in the pot and just seal in the juices that way. And then I'm going to add in the broth and the spices, and I'm just going to add the pumpkin on top. And that's because the pureed pumpkin is thick and I don't want it to be mixed in because it might make it too thick to let the pot come up to pressure. So just as a precaution, I'm just gonna layer the pumpkin right on top of everything and cook it that way. While the pork is sauteing, I'm gonna get my sticky rice pan ready. I'm going to do 4 cups of rice. I think that should be fine in this really big pot. I'm going to rinse the rice and then add it to my pot, and I do 1-to-1 ratio of water to rice. So I'll put 4 cups of water in here and a little salt, and that'll be ready to go. Hopefully that rice doesn't expand too much. I don't think it will. I think it'll be okay in this pan. I'm going to add in the spices. This is my absolute favorite curry paste. You can see it's made in Oregon. It's a local company here, but I love the massaman curry flavor. But you can use like red curry paste or really any curry. Anything's going to be good with pumpkin pork curry. Oh, and I also wanted to mention that anybody who doesn't eat pork, this recipe works really well with chicken. So feel free to substitute chicken breast or chicken thigh meat instead of the pork. I'm not going to measure this ginger, just going to do maybe 2 teaspoons. It's probably 2 teaspoons. A couple of teaspoons of salt. The amount of pork that I used could have been up to 2 pounds. So somewhere between 1.5 to 2 pounds is what I'm guessing. That curry paste smells so good already. The spices and the flavors in there are just amazing. Now to add the 1 cup of broth. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off saute mode. Now I'm just going to layer my pureed pumpkin over the top and not mix it in. Last thing to add is the rice and we'll be ready to cook. So I'm not worried that the pan is right at the top of the pot. The max line, in my estimation, does not come into play when you're working with pot and pot cooking like this. The only thing you want to be careful of is to not let anything touch the top of the lid, and that would obstruct the float valve, but this will not be a problem the way it is. So I'm choosing pressure cook. I turned off the sound, that's why it's not beeping. That sound was getting really annoying. I'm gonna do custom up to 20 minutes. And I'm gonna go down to low pressure and start. While the Instant Pot is cooking, I'm gonna get my veggies ready and I'll throw those in at the very end along with the coconut milk. And I'll just cook the veggies long enough to get them a tiny bit tender, but we like nice crisp veggies in our curries. For the carrots, I'm just going to use my peeler to make carrot ribbons, and they'll be nice and thin so that they'll cook really fast when I put them into the curry at the end. If you have really thick pieces of carrot, you'll have to cook it longer, and so just to avoid that, and because carrot ribbons are fun, I'm just doing them that way. Talia, do you want some carrot pieces? Funny shaped carrot pieces.
Ooh, yeah.
Cook time finished, and it's been on keep warm mode for 9 minutes. I usually at least wait 5 minutes, but you can wait a little longer. You don't want the rice to overcook, but a little bit longer is not too bad. I'm just gonna quick release the rest of the pressure. There wasn't much because it was on low pressure. There's that beautiful rice. It looks really good. So when you take a pot and pot out of the Instant Pot, sometimes if you're cooking something underneath, the bottom of the pot can have, you know, like curry on it, and sometimes that stuff can be very staining. So I always try to put a towel or paper towel down before I just set it on like one of my nice hot pads or something, because I don't want to get those stained. I just turned it back on saute mode because I'm gonna add in my vegetables and get them simmered just for maybe, 2 or 3 minutes, however long it takes to get them to the tenderness that you like. It's just been simmering for about 2 minutes, which is plenty, and I'm gonna add in the coconut milk. Just bring it back up to a simmer to heat up the coconut milk, and this is all done. It didn't need any thickening because it has the pumpkin in there, so I think it's plenty thick enough. If you do like it really thick, you could simmer it down for longer and let it reduce, or you could add some cornstarch or arrowroot starch mixed with water to thicken it up, but I think it's perfect just the way it is here. It really does need something green in it to tie it all together, but my family just doesn't care for the little green extras on the top. So that is all there is to it. Dinner is ready. So last week we did chicken week with all the chicken recipes, and I guess this week was just pork week because I realized that the breakfast sausages are pork sausages, so everything we made was pork this week. I don't think we're going to be able to continue the trend for next week and do beef week, particularly because Autumn's recipe that she chose I think is chicken. So, but maybe in the future we'll do a beef week and see how that goes. Thanks so much for hanging out in the kitchen with me this week, and I will see you again in the next video.